Well, hello Clarendon, and thanks for tuning in to another art lesson. I have some fun drawing exercises that we'll be doing today that I like to do every year. And also they're gonna tie in to the stuff that we've been talking about the past couple weeks, like drawing shapes and forms. The only thing you'll need today is a piece of paper and a pencil. Before we get started on the drawing exercises, we need to talk about something that's gonna tie into the lesson today, and that is our brain and what it's responsible for. So, as you all know, it is responsible for everything that goes on in our bodies. Some of those things might be breathing, or seeing, or smelling, or eating. It also regulates our temperature. It lets us know when we're hungry. It is responsible for everything that goes on in our bodies, right? It is the control center of everything that we think, feel, and do, okay? Now, some of you may know that our brain is divided right down the middle into two different sections. Now, those sections of our brain are responsible for different things. Some of you may know that your right-hand side of your brain controls the left-hand side of your body, and your left-hand side of your brain controls the right-hand side of your body. So those of you who are left-handed, you're using your right-hand side of your brain more often. And those of you that are right-handed are using your left-hand side of your brain more often. Let's see what those two different sides of your brain are responsible for. So the left-hand side of your brain is responsible for things like math and writing and reading and logic, so logical things. Your right-hand side of your brain is where your art and your music and your imagination, right? Things that you imagine, and your creativity. So those are all things that are going on your right-hand side of your brain as opposed to your left-hand side of your brain. So today, all of the exercises that I have prepared for you, we're gonna be using our right-hand side of our brain, right? Since we are in art class. So let's take a look at those exercises now. All right, so the first exercise we're going to be doing is our blind contour drawings. Contour just means the outside line or the outline of the shape or the figure that you're drawing. So that's what we're going to focus on today. And when you're drawing your objects today and you're not looking at your paper, it's really going to force your mind to focus very hard on those lines and those shapes, okay? It happens automatically when you don't look at your paper. So today, here for example, this one I did, this bottle, without looking at the bottle. I closed my eyes and I just imagined what a bottle would look like. But then I drew this one, which I think looks a lot more like a bottle and has a lot more detail, by looking at the bottle and drawing it, but not looking at my paper. So I looked at the bottle and I looked and focused on every line that I could, and I tried to record that on my paper. So it's kind of like a science experiment. You don't know what you're gonna get until you look down and see what you've got, see what you've drawn. So here's a couple more that I did. Here's one of my daughter, Sophia, where I looked at her and drew without looking at my paper. I thought that one turned out pretty cool. So I've gone ahead and labeled all of these. Here's a hanging plant that I decided to do without looking at my paper. It says eyes open hanging plant, meaning my eyes were open and I drew it without looking at my paper. This one I was pretty proud of, and it is a paper crane. I drew this paper crane here. So I looked very closely at the paper crane, but I didn't look at my paper as I was drawing it. So here's a couple blind contour drawings. There's a couple more that I want to show you before we move on to the next exercise, because I chose to add color to them. And you can do this as well. So these I did with Sharpie. This was another day that I was trying them out, but I drew some of the things in my living room. I drew a plant blind. This was with my eyes closed, I think. Here's a chair. So things are not gonna line up or be proportionate, and that's okay. Here's a TV remote. So I then went in and added color, okay, with my eyes open, and I concentrated and added some color, which is something that you can do. Here's a clock that I chose to draw. This is a fan. So just have fun with it with your blind contour drawings. You don't have to draw anything special. You can draw whatever you'd like, whatever object you'd like, or you could draw from your head. But I do really suggest trying to draw an object because it really makes you focus on the different lines of the shape. So for the second drawing exercise, I would like you all to try your opposite hand drawings. Here I did a still life. I have it labeled and dated here. I would like you all to do that too. I have a still life that I did completely with my opposite hand. It was very difficult to show dimension and to get those fine details in the pot here, especially my flower pot and my dice. You're going to be using your right hand side of your brain quite a bit for this opposite hand drawing exercise. Okay? So the next one that we're going to be talking about is our one line drawing. Now I have several here that I would like to show you. And again, I drew from my imagination, and then I also drew from an object. So here is a one line pair of scissors, meaning I put my pencil down and then I didn't bring it up until the drawing was finished, okay? So you can't lift your pencil or whatever it is that you're writing with until your drawing is finished. Now you're gonna wanna lift it up. For example, if I was drawing a house, you'd probably lift it up right there when you were done with your square, right? You'd lift it up to put your triangle on. But you can't in this exercise. So your brain is gonna wanna think, how do I put in all these different details without lifting up my pencil? And this can be a fun exercise where you're really going to be forced to get creative and use your right hand side of your brain. So here's another one that I did where I didn't lift my pencil until this portrait from my imagination was totally finished, or what I thought was finished. Again, there's going to be some pretty funny lines in these drawings that may not really look like they should be there, but that's part of the exercise, okay? Well, I hope you all had fun listening to the lesson and are looking forward to doing those 3 drawing exercises. Before I let you go, I want to do my own blind contour drawing. So one fun thing you can do is look in another area of the room and try to draw without looking at your piece of paper. So I'm going to look over this way and I'm going to try to draw a face. So here I have, things are not going to line up as they should, but again, that is just all part of the fun of this exercise. Okay, so here I have my blind contour drawing. My ears are way over there. My lips are coming off of my face. Okay, so that's one fun thing that you can do. You can try looking at another area of your room and try drawing something on your paper. If you decide to share your artwork with me, please try and label exactly what it is what you drew and how you drew it. So if it's a blind contour drawing or opposite hand, try to write that on the side there or somewhere on your page so I know what I'm looking at. It's a great way to document your drawings as well. I look forward to seeing your artwork, and I will see you all next week.